So I am kind of breaking all of my own rules here because I've been asked to film my skincare story, routine, whatever you want to call it, video for a really long time. And I've been wanting to do it for a really long time. And I really wanted to do it right. Um, but I'm kind of just at the point where I feel like I need to talk about it. And I want to talk about it and I want to share my experience. And I don't have the right equipment to do it the right way. But I figure if it's something that, is going to help people, then I might as well just do it and get it out there. And hopefully you'll forgive me about the fact that I'm literally holding my camera in selfie mode filming this right now. Because I feel like that's better than just not doing it at all, or waiting too long to do it. And it's already been too long. So without further ado, let's talk about acne. I actually had really good skin in high school and in most of college, and for a few years after college. I would get like a big cyst like right down here on my chin. Starting, I would say maybe like a year to 2 years after college, they started being like really regular. And there would be those huge, really painful cystic pimples that hurt like a bitch. And they didn't go away no matter what. I would put rubbing alcohol on them and try to dry them out. I would put like actual like benzoyl peroxide cream, like toothpaste. I mean, like I did everything, like all like the old wives' tales, everything you could ever think of. And like they would never go away. So the only way that they would go away is when I went to go see the dermatologist and they would give me cortisone shots in them. But that's not really something that you want to get in the habit of doing. So once they started to appear more regularly and more often, I started going to the derm and they put me on it was topical. I want to remember. Like I'm going to try to in this video say everything, like every medication, topical, anything I was ever on, because I think it's important to understand how much of a struggle and a journey this was and still is and continues to be. So I was on, let's say Tazarac or Differin. I was on both of those at some point. I don't know which one I started with, but I was on both of them. Oh, sorry, my phone just paused for a minute. So nothing worked out of those two at all. Like, didn't do anything. So then I went from that to trying minocycline, which is a pill, like a medication you take. Did nothing. Deoxycycline. Did nothing. So you're starting to see a pattern here, I'm assuming. Now, at this point, not only are these things not working, but my acne is getting worse and worse. Oh, birth control too. I was on birth control for like 8 years. So I switched pills. I tried different ones. I mean, I tried everything and nothing worked. So at this point, my acne is getting worse and worse. It's not just like one cyst on my chin. They're starting to creep all up here and all up here. You can see my face is actually really like irritated and like a little angry today because I got a microdermabrasion from my dermatologist today. And the point of those is to help reduce scarring and to also kind of bring to the surface anything that's underneath. So my skin actually looks a lot worse than it really is today, but that's a lot of these are scars, and some of them are live like acne, but they're not, nothing is cystic right now, which is actually really good. I gotta sit up. So where am I with this? Oh, I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway, so at this point, like nothing was working. I feel like I had tried pretty much everything, and I went to a dermatologist and told her that I wanted to talk about Accutane because at this point I thought that was my only hope. And I didn't like this dermatologist. She basically like put me in a room, which was like a closet, and like made me watch a video about all the dangers and horrors of Accutane. And like maybe sign a release basically saying like I understood what would happen or what could happen if I took this medication. And it was like very I was very like cold. I didn't feel like she was really invested in my situation and like really wanted to help. It was kind of just like, okay, you want to talk about Accutane? All right, let me go down the list, like ABC, check, check, check. All right, thanks, get out, whatever. Like it was just very like clinical, but not just in a way that felt like this might not be right for me, but she's not going to take the time to find out if it's not right for me. She's just going to do this because this is what she does, or this is what she thinks she should do. So then I kind of took a step back and I started researching and doing a lot of soul searching. And I just decided it wasn't for me. And at this point, I truly was like desperate. I was so close to doing it, but something made me decide not to do it. I didn't think it was going to be right for me. I didn't want to put my body through that. I didn't want to risk everything, all the side effects, all the terrible things, that could happen. And I also know from research that, Accutane might work great, and then it might all come right back when you're off of it. So I thought, how shitty would that be to put myself and my body and my skin and everything through that process? I'm sorry, I just pulled like a feather out of my bed because it was poking me. That's really funny. Like how horrible would it be to go through all that and then end up back at square one? So I decided I wasn't going to go on Accutane, and I decided I wanted nothing to do with this dermatologist. Like she just was not my style. So then I went the all natural route. I started washing my face with coconut oil. I started trying to make green juice. I started avoiding dairy and minimizing sugar. And those things definitely helped. My skin definitely calmed down a little bit. And I definitely still to this day strongly believe in, getting lots of veggies, drinking lots of water, not having tons of sugar. And obviously like working out and having a healthy lifestyle helps. And I 100%, believe those things helped, but they were not the solution for me. It wasn't curing acne. And while I did see some improvements, it was not a permanent like solution at all. And I still had really, really bad cystic acne even as I was doing all of those things. So finally, and I don't know how I'm gonna like do this, if I'm gonna insert pictures or just show you them at the end like a slideshow, but like I think you need to see pictures to really visualize and understand how awful it really was and how like debilitating it was for me, in terms of just like my confidence level and like dreading coming home from work and having to take my makeup off, dreading my now husband, then fiance at the time, coming home after a long day of work and like seeing me like that. And he was so wonderful throughout the whole struggle, and he honestly never mentioned it. He would tell me he didn't even notice it, and I kind of like, part of me believes that was actually true, but it was less about how great he was and more about just how I felt, obviously, because it was my face. And of course, having a beauty blog, I wanted nothing to do with filming videos or taking pictures for Instagram with makeup. Even with foundation on, you could just see like bumps like all over my face. So it was really, really tough. So I went to a new dermatologist finally, who was recommended to me by my sister's friend who had gone through something like sort of similar. Not like the same exact issue, but a cystic acne. And he was awesome. He is awesome. He is my dermatologist. I actually just was with him today. And he he was really nice to me and really sympathetic and didn't make me feel like I was overreacting to anything. And he wasn't like, oh, well, Accutane's the only answer. It was like, here's what I think would really help you. And it was medication that I had never heard of. I had no dermatologist that ever mentioned it before. And it's called spironolactone. Basically, taken in high doses. I was about to say dosages and doses at the same time. So I was like, taken in high doses, spironolactone, also known as aldactone, is a blood pressure medication. But taken in lower doses can help balance out the hormonal imbalances that can cause cystic acne. So he put me on 100 milligrams about 8 or 9 months ago. So I was on the 100 milligrams for about a month or two, and I really wasn't seeing any changes. So I called him and I said, I'm taking this medication like you told me to, and nothing's really working. So he was like, all right, increase it to 200 a day. So I was like, all right, if you say so. So I increased it to 200, and within a month or so, I started to see some improvement for the first time in like years. I was so excited. I knew I wasn't out of the woods yet, but I was definitely starting to see some improvement. And he told me to, in addition to taking the medication, he said, come in for, what was it? Microderms? Or is that not at that point yet? Maybe I wasn't supposed to do that at that point. I think I'm getting confused. Anyway, after a few months of being on the 200 milligrams, my skin cleared up. And I was the happiest person in the world. I did this, in the months leading up to my wedding. So the fact that I had like clear skin on my wedding day, it was just like the happiest. It was just the coolest thing ever, because if you had seen my face, and I will show you what it looked like just a few months prior, you would never in a million years have thought that I could have had clear skin for my wedding. And I did. And I had clear skin for my honeymoon. And I had actually, once that like the really bad acne had started to go away, I started laser treatments to get rid of some of the scarring. So obviously it has not gone away completely, and it's very, very red, very noticeable today, like I said, because of the microderm. But it was very subtle and muted, before today. So on my honeymoon, I barely wore makeup. I had sunscreen on every day. We would go out at night sometimes. I would put on a little bit of makeup, but I would use like the tiniest dab of foundation, and my face would look smooth and even, and it was the best. The only downside to being on 200 milligrams of the Spiro was that it totally messed with my cycle. And so I was getting my period every like 14 to 17 days. And it wasn't just like a day of my period. I was like getting my period. So that was really annoying, because A, who wants their period every 2 weeks? And two, like I didn't really know what did that mean? Like when was I ovulating? What was going on? So that was kind of annoying. So my doctor told me that I could drop back down to 100, because he was like, once your skin clears up, you should be fine dropping the dosage again, because the point is not to stay on that dosage forever. It's to like have your skin clear up and then gradually start to lower the dosage until you're eventually off of it. So I've been on 100 for the last 2 months, and I have seen a little bit of a decline in like the overall quality of my skin since I've dropped down my dosage. Nowhere God near where it was before, but certain areas have started to raise up a little bit. My chin's starting to feel like very bumpy underneath when I wash my face, and thankfully, thank God, nothing feels cystic. It just feels like surface bumpy, but still seeing how my skin looked before, and then like now knowing that it's getting worse from being on a lower dosage is a little bit upsetting and discouraging. So today, actually, so this kind of comes at a good time to make this video, he prescribed me, well, it's not really you have to get it through a prescription, but it's not like a antibiotic or anything. It's called nicomide. It is zinc, folic acid, and something else, basically like supplements. So he said to try that with, the 1 Spiro a day. We'll see how that goes. I'm continuing doing microderms and maybe some like laser treatments for the scarring. But I will try to bring you up close so you can see, like, my cheeks are in really good shape, and this is mostly flat. There's like a couple that are a little bit raised. And then over here, these are mostly scars. A couple of these are a little tiny bit raised, but this is all flat, all here. So it's like, it's weird and it's annoying. But I think, the important thing is just to remember that you as a person are not defined by your skin and how you look. You are defined by who you are inside, and the strength and tenacity that you have to research and to deal with it and to try things and to think outside the box and to, you know, surround yourself with great people who are going to support you through it. And I know this sounds like dramatic and everything, but seriously, if you've ever been through like awful cystic acne, you know that it's almost like going through like a sickness or something, because it takes so much energy out of you, and it takes and I don't mean to say that like to try to like put myself on the same level of somebody who's like actually going through like a truly like medical hardship. I just mean that it's something that like it's like a part of you, it's part of who you are, and you kind of just have to like accept it and try to live your life as normal as possible while going through it. But you also have to stay positive, and you have to, you know, surround yourself with people who are going to help you through it and lift you up. And yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to come on here and be like, oh, like here was my acne story and here's how like it's perfect now, because it's not. And it's never going to be perfect. And well, I mean, never say never. It could be. I hope it is one day. But like I said, it's a journey and there's a lot to it, and it's ever evolving. And I just hope that, you know, this helps anybody out there who was going through or is going through what I have gone through and am going through. Because I think the most comforting thing for me in this whole process was going online and seeing that I wasn't the only person experiencing this, and that there were other people out there who, you know, were healthy people who, you know, didn't eat McDonald's every day and who had a good fitness routine and lived a healthy lifestyle, and still for some reason was like plagued with this. So just so you know, if you're watching this and you're in my situation, you're not alone. Find a good dermatologist and just stay really positive, and hopefully you will have a good outcome. So sorry that this wasn't like a fancy video, but I figured I wanted to get this up ASAP. And I've just realized I've been talking for 17 minutes. I'm so sorry. Have a good night, and I'll see you soon. Bye.